folks. Sorry it's taken me so long, but I was going to give a little bit of feedback on the Stranger Than Fiction papers and make sure everybody's on the right page for the Apollonian Dionysian analysis for your final project that's coming up. And at some point in the next week or so, you need to email me what you're going to write about for your final paper, whether it's a movie you really love or a song, a dance piece, a novel, whatever. Okay. Overall, I thought you guys did a good job with the Stranger Than Fiction critique and got the idea of the two different kinds of analysis. Some people just needed to put in this part is the Apollonian part, this part's the Dionysian part, actually use the terminology to structure it so that I know you know what you're talking about. The biggest thing I would say is that you just need to dig deeper. Some people basically just wrote a plot summary of 2 or 3 pages of everything that happened. Plot summary is not analysis. It's just regurgitating what you saw. Analysis is making observations about what you saw and what you think it meant, why it was there, what it added, etc. Prime example being things like the graphics that are shown all over the beginning of the movie. A couple people mentioned them, and then some people mentioned that they were there but didn't really say why they were there or anything. They're there to show you that he lives in his head, that he's living in sort of an intellectual, analytical kind of way and not really interacting with the world. And then as he starts to live his life and fall in love, they go away because he's not living in his head anymore. And then right at the very end, when he goes back, gets dressed, is going through with the ending, they come back again because he's back in that kind of mode. Things like that. So it's not just to say, well, I noticed those, but why? Well, why were they there? What did you notice them for? Some people did talk about the different sets and costumes and how they showed the characters of the people who lived there. One person commented, I think it was one person, about one of the images I love, the scene where they're out imagining car wrecks and everything's all dark and dreary except Queen Latifah has this giant yellow umbrella because she's the one little bright, happy spot in that whole storyline. Things you could talk about would be the 3 different plot lines and how they all come together at the end with the woman driving the bus and the little boy in the bike and Harold's story, and they all come together at the end. In the scene where he hears her voice on the TV towards the end, she's talking about his book in that interview, Death and Taxes, and saying it's about interconnectivity, which is all of those storylines coming together and how everybody's influencing all these different people. Little things like I love in the scene where he's with the first therapist, the IRS therapist, and there's like a cloud background behind him. And when he starts daydreaming about her, it starts to move behind him like it's a real sky because his head's in the clouds and he's daydreaming about her. There's a lot of little things in this movie that are really amazing. Stuff like the performances, whether you thought they were good or not. And then the big thing being the themes. What do you think the message was? You know, carpe diem. You're not in control of your own destiny. All of these different things. The ending, whether you think she should have let him live or should have, if you're like my husband who thinks he should be killed off. And every now and then somebody else thinks that. So that's all Apollonian, where you really dig into why the things are there, what they mean, what they add to it. Are there things that detract from it, you know? And then the Dionysian is how you felt about it. Did you like it? Did you not like it? Did you whatever? What kind of emotions did you feel as you were watching it? That kind of thing. So in general, we just needed to use our critical thinking skills and dig deeper and actually analyze rather than just summarize what you saw. Okay? I did put comments on the papers when I graded them, so if you haven't actually clicked on that and looked at it, it might be a good idea. Because now you're going to pick something of your own to do this type of analysis on, and I expect it to be fairly in-depth. The other thing is, do not use anything but your brain. Don't go to IMDb or wherever it is and copy out what someone else said about it. A lot of those reviews on IMDb are just Joe Schmo from next door. He doesn't know any more about it than you do. Don't use outside sources. The only thing you might use would be something from your textbook where you were connecting it back to one of those themes that we've studied. And in that case, you'd want to say that it came from the textbook. But other than that, please do not go copy anything from anywhere or paraphrase it or whatever. I just want to know what you think. And if you do that, you're going to get a 0 on it because that's not your analysis, okay? But like I said, in general, we had a good foundation. Seemed like people understood the difference and generally got the assignment. We just need to dig a little deeper. All right. Please let me know if you have any questions. And like I say, in the next week or so, you need to email me what one piece of art you plan to write your final critique paper on. Okay? All right, folks. Hope that helps.